Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and it's time to look at the bug types that you can find within Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. So, why would you want a bug type? In Generation 1, bug types were really a horrible type. They didn't have any good moves at all, and the only thing that they had as a positive were that they were super effective against Psychics, but that wasn't enough to make them even decent. But here, a few generations later, bug types are actually kind of decent if you want to use them on your team. They've got better movesets, and they can do a little bit more, especially a lot of the bug types here, because there's a few bug types that are actually pretty decent here in Kanto. And the first bug type we'll look at is Butterfree. So Butterfree is a bug and flying type Pokemon. As you're going to see, there's not a lot of pure bug types here in Kanto. But yeah, bug and flying, that's actually a pretty interesting typing. Its best stat is a 90 special attack, which is pretty good, especially earlier on in the game when you're more than likely to get your Butterfree. It evolves from Metapod at level 10, so that's a very early evolution level. The big drawback to this thing, though, is it's only got 50 defense. It's not going to take hits at all, but it does have 80 special defense, so early on that could take some hits, but as you get further in the game, Butterfree's not really going to hold its own much anymore. Now we come to another Pokemon you'll probably get pretty early on. This thing evolves from Kakuna at level 10, and it is Beedrill. So Beedrill is actually a bug and poison type instead of bug flying. And the best stat on Beedrill is actually a 90 attack, which is actually pretty decent, especially earlier on in the game, just like Butterfree. It's got an 80 special defense as well, which is decent early on. It's actually got less defense, however, at 40, but where it loses some stats in defense, it gains 5 points in its speed, so it's 75, whereas Beedrill is just 70, so this thing is faster than Butterfree. But Beedrill is a Pokemon that later on in the game is going to not be that great as well. However, once we look at Mega Beedrill, this thing is a beast. It is a bug and poison type, just like normal Beedrill, and this thing gets a huge boost in attack and speed. It's got a 150 attack stat. That is immense. That's going to knock out a lot of things. That is actually the best attack stat out of most of these bug types. And there's only one that actually surpasses that, and once we get to it, you're going to be amazed by that one. But Mega Beedrill is a very fast Pokemon. This is the fastest bug type, 145 speed. It's going to outspeed almost everything. So if you really want to get yourself a Mega Beedrill, go ahead. Like I said, we don't know if Megas are in the before the post game or not, but if it is, Mega Beedrill is going to do a lot of work. But if not, skip Beedrill and pick another bug type. Next up is Parasect. Parasect is a bug and grass type, and we've already talked about this one during the grass type video. Its best stat is actually a 95 attack, which is okay-ish, but it's very slow with only 30 speed. It's got 80 defense and special defense, which honestly isn't the greatest because it's only got 60 HP, so it's not the bulkiest Pokemon. But honestly, I would skip this thing. It's got a horrible typing. Flying types, fire types are going to destroy this thing. And it doesn't really have much in terms of things that it can offer to your team. So I would say Parasect is a Pokemon you probably should skip. Don't use it unless you want to challenge yourself. Next up, we have Venomoth. And Venomoth is a bug poison type. And this thing has decent speed at 90 and decent special attack at 90 as well. Plus, this thing also gets Quiver Dance, which is what it's best known for. So that's going to boost your speed and your special attack and even your special defense, which Venomoth has 75 of. It can use some padding on that side. So honestly, this thing is actually pretty decent for Pokemon to put on your team. I could see this thing being a really good choice if you really need a bug poison type. Venomoth could be that all-terrain vehicle that you put on your team. So next up, we have Scyther, and Scyther is a really cool Pokemon. It's got 110 attack, which is actually pretty good. It's got 105 speed, that's pretty fast as well. It's got 70 HP, 80 in defense and special defense, so it does have some decent bulk as well. And this thing has enough speed to outspeed quite a few things. It's got a pretty good attack stat. This is a bug flying type, and it's actually honestly a pretty good Pokemon. If you want to use a Scyther, go ahead, pick one out. it is a decent Pokemon for your team. So next up, we have Pincer. Pincer is actually the only pure bug type here in Kanto. And this thing has a really good attack stat at 125. That is crazy good. And it's also got a good defense stat at 100. That's also really good. And it's got a decent speed stat at 85. It's not the best, but it's okay. I honestly think Pincer is actually a pretty good Pokemon. It's actually a Pokemon I do feel is kind of underrated because it's got a good attack stat, good bulk as well. And we can't go without talking about its Mega. Now it's time to talk about Mega Pincer. Mega Pincer gets the flying typing. This thing is a really good Pokemon. I think this is honestly one of the best Megas out there. It's got a 155 attack, which is crazy good attack stat. It's got 120 defense. That's also really good. It's got a 90 special defense. That's okay. But that's actually the best special defense stat out of all these bug types. And honestly, this thing has the best attack and defense stat as well. And it's also fast, with a 105 speed. So not only is this thing really strong, it hits hard, it's got really good bulk, it can take hits, and it's fast. It's going to outspeed things. This is honestly a really good Mega here. The biggest drawback of this thing, of course, is it doesn't really get that good of flying stab. Normally it relies on its ability Aerialate for its flying stab. However, without it, it doesn't really have the greatest flying stab. However, I do think this thing is still good without that. So if you really need a good bug-type Pokemon, Mega Pincer is something that I think is really solid. This thing is going to demolish teams. It's just a really good Pokemon. I love this thing. So there's all the bug types of Kanto. Which one are you picking? Which one are you going to try out on your team? Are you going to try out a bug type on your team? Because honestly, you don't really have to have a bug type. However, I do think it is cool to try it out, since they've got so many tools that they can work with since Generation 1, when they were just basically something you don't want to use at all. But here, we've got some things we could do with a bug type. So, are you going to try one out? Which one are you picking? And put that in the comments. I will see you in the next Pokemon video.